Limited time events are part of a large Genshin ecosystem of all the gacha games. It gives you something to do and rewards you for it. But there has been a lot of events that have been recycled, but I've noticed that around Sumeru/Fontaine there has been shift between those events. This shift changed certain events to be more unique than the others. I will also not talk too much about story-driven events as they are its own thing. I will keep it to the end of the video. Also, I will not mention events that have been repeated, sorry Ito and your Beetle battles, and if you like this type of content, please let me know by subscribing to this channel. With that being said, let's just jump into it. I noticed that Genshin, through those events, is kinda trying to mimic certain popular games outside of gacha sphere, and we will start with alchemy event. This one is pretty simple. You had flowers, and each flower had different kind of properties, and with them you created potions. Then you sell potions, you look at the money, and you bought other additions. Then in the middle you had certain story behind the characters, why they were buying the potions and so on. It is very similar to what we have seen in HSR with drink mixing event, Arum Alley, or even the Bellabug Museum. In Genshin I don't think we have seen it, but I can be mistaken on that part. However, it feels novel for Genshin, of course, but for Genshin majority of things are novel, let's be honest. I'm sure there are games that do this. I'm not sure how popular they are, but I cannot think of any right off the top of my head. Next on our list is Wind Race. Even though it is a repeated event and I mentioned kinda that there won't be any, Wind Race differed from its previous iterations so much that I would not take it as the same thing, even though the core of its gameplay, hide and seek, is practically the same. This version has been inspired by Dead by Daylight, which is basically hide and seek with monsters where you have to hide from the seeker, and you can win by simply repairing certain structures alongside the map, which is the premise of this Wind Race. And I feel like this was great. It had novel gameplay for those who don't play Dead by Daylight such as me, and of course it gave something to do for the ones who are hiding instead of just evading the seeker, and it gave them new win condition. Next on our list is Mutual Security Enhancing Simulation. I'm sure many of you won't know what this is all about. But this is Castle Royale in Genshin, or Warcraft Rumble if you will. You had your own base, 2 towers, and you spawn creatures to push further and destroy more towers and eventually fight the enemy's castle or base or whatever you wanna call it. Basically, mobile game type of event. Castle Royale is very popular from what I know, and Warcraft Rumble, although it seems like a good addition to the whole Blizzard ecosystem, it didn't really feel too well, as majority of Blizzard's player base is PC focused and this was mobile game after all, although with Warcraft IP. But besides that, this event was fun to play. It had limited repeatable levels, so it didn't feel that well. Everything was then all the same, but I have to give it props for being very unique and very fun to do for the first time around. And lastly, we have Exercise Surging Storm, which is the event that is currently in progress as I'm recording this video. And it's basically auto chess. You gather units, you combine same units into stronger one with levels and so on. You have 6 different units which are spawning time after time. It's very similar to Teamfight Tactics or Hearthstone Battlegrounds. And on top of that, it has some kind of PvP. I'm not sure how exactly the PvP works, but it seems like it is PvP with some kind of delay, let's just say. You have some team and then it probably loads up to someone with similar wins, loses, round split and other criteria that would be necessary so that the fights are fair. And by the way, I love this event. I wish it was permanent, just like Mutual Security Enhancing Simulation, except the mutual one could have similar PvP style of thing and it could be very fun to do both of it. Now, what are my main issues with events and why I am even talking about it. Genshin is at the point where other whoever's games have option to replay those events, and that is especially for story-driven events, which are crucial for certain story beats, such as Albedo. You could even say Alchemy event could be taken to this category, because it had some kind of story. However, we can probably just dream about this ever being implemented. We saw that Genshin is kinda trying to not give too many rewards, to let people pay for it, and since Netland, from what I've heard, isn't doing this well, if they would make these story events permanent, it could actually bring some people back, because by now Genshin is an old game, and there have been quite a lot of people who missed out on these events because they didn't play at the moment when they were around. So it would give them opportunity to replay them, such as Albedo's storyline in Dragonspine or Scaramouche's adventure in Mondstadt, where he proved that the sky is fake, which we in the Archon Quest even saw ourselves, or Naida's birthday, and there have been throughout the years many of those. And it's kinda unfortunate that this actually happened. And they could stick around for a bit longer to know the characters and to see what they are actually about, and maybe pull them here and there for some constellation on, or just have it on C0. In addition, it would make the FOMO, which is so prevalent in Genshin at the very moment, not so egregious as it is at the moment. But when it comes to mutual security enhancing simulation and exercise surging storm, which in my eyes are very similar to what we have, for example, in TCG. TCG was permanent addition with new ideas and new cards and so on. And also TCG, from what I know, doesn't have a very large player base, which could be also good for those two events as well. Although it would probably require certain balance changes, because in my eyes slimes are pretty broken with their immunity on certain elements if you can combine it, but still. Anyway, I have been talking about it for quite a long time, so I'll cut it right here. So don't forget, if you like this type of content and you wanna see more, let me know by subscribing to this channel, and I'll see you in the next one.